everybody, I'm Em and welcome back to Just Brew It. Today we are going to be making some classic blueberry muffins. I'm talking about the kind of muffins that you see in a pastry case in a coffee shop. Since you're creating your very own coffee shop at home, then we decided that you might need some special pastries to go with it. This week's recipe is perfectly paired with our Uganda coffee. It's a blueberry muffin, and the blueberries perfectly complement the wine-like acidity in the Uganda coffee. So you can find the recipe on our website. It is a blueberry crumble muffin, just like you would find in a coffee shop. And the first thing we're going to do is make the crumble. The ingredients you will need for the crumble will be 1/2 cup of plain white all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 stick of butter melted, and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do, let me grab a fork here. We're just going to add this brown sugar into the white flour mix. Just kind of make sure that it all gets mixed there. Now this is going to be that tasty crumble that goes on top of your muffin. Now you won't have to work this hard if you use brown sugar that you just bought, but this was some brown sugar that has been in my cupboard for a minute, so it got a little angry. Get all the big lumps out. That's okay if you leave some lumps in there because the butter will kind of break it up a little bit, but you want to make sure it gets good and mixed. You're going to add your wet ingredients. So the vanilla extract and the butter. Just gonna break it up a little bit, make sure it gets all nice and mixed. When I worked in a coffee shop, you guys, the blueberry muffin was one of my favorite things that we had. And one of the things I love about this recipe is that it's a little bit healthier. Aside from the crumble here, which is just all butter and sugar, the actual batter we made with flax meal, which has a lot of fiber in it and kind of cuts down on the impact of sugar in your blood. All right, so there's a nice crumbly topping. See how pretty that looks. We are gonna set that aside while we make our muffin batter. To make the muffin batter, you will need a pinch of salt, 1 cup of flaxseed meal, and 1 cup of white all-purpose flour, which I've already mixed together, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a cup of honey, 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. I use non-fat, but you can use any kind you like, 1/2 cup of canola oil, 2 eggs, and a cup of fresh blueberries. Take your flour and flaxseed meal mixture and put it in the bowl. Just a pinch of salt, our 2 teaspoons rather of baking powder. Now, the original recipe, I found this recipe in an old Georgia Ruritan Club cookbook. I actually collect them. The original recipe called for 3 tablespoons of baking powder. I could literally taste it burning my tongue in the batter, so we cut it down just a little bit. You only need 2 teaspoons. Mix it up like that, and then you're just gonna add your wet ingredients. Now you're gonna save your blueberries for last. And your buttermilk, your oil, your 2 eggs. Give that a little stir. Nice and mixed. Part of the unique bit of this recipe is that it's sweetened with honey and not sugar. It's my favorite part. Look how pretty that is. I love that. We're gonna get all that good stuff out. Mix it in. Now this is gonna be kind of a little bit of a runny batter because it's got the extra liquid. That kind of works with the flax meal, so it's just fine. Just kind of turn it like that. This can get overmixed. Okay, so the last part of this, yeah, see, that's what I was trying to avoid, little pockets. It's gonna be lumpy no matter what you do, so you kind of want to make sure you've got it all. Okay. Yeah, that tastes really good. The last part we're gonna do is add in our cup of blueberries. The blueberries I found were like really large. Kind of fold them in like that. My first sort of go round of this recipe ended up turning the entire batch of it blue. Originally, I tried to sort of make it incredibly healthy, and I used coconut oil, less honey, and it just kind of turned out to be a not very sweet blueberry bread. And it wasn't pretty, and it was blue. I don't think you all would compare it to what you would find in a coffee shop, so we modified it a little bit. Very honey. I love muffins with honey in them. I have got this larger muffin pan. It's 8 instead of 12, but it's bigger. You can use a regular size muffin pan. I have preheated my oven to 375 because I kind of like to let it bake for longer. So I'm going to do 375 and 25 minutes. If you do 12 muffins, bump that up to 400 and take 5 minutes off of the baking time. But make sure you keep an eye on these. They brown really quickly because of the honey that's in them. There's a crucial step that we're missing. We want to, spray these to make sure that they don't stick. Right, there we go. I'm trying to fill these it's like a normal muffin tin. You want to fill them about 3/4 of the way full. I really love these bakery muffins, you guys. I normally make them on Saturday morning if I had some people coming over, and I'm going to be having a get together for my birthday here in a few weeks, and I'm thinking about making these for my guests. I love these fresh blueberries. I use frozen blueberries for a lot of things, but these muffins work out particularly well with the fresh. The trick to these, guys, is keeping an eye on them while they're in the oven, because the bigger ones like this especially, they don't get done in the middle as fast, so you kind of have to keep an eye on them. Those are going to be so good. So the last step to this is, you remember the crumble we made before. Take some of this and crumble it on top. Now the crumble is another one of the reasons you're going to want to keep a good eye on these guys, because you won't necessarily be able to tell when they're done. So you keep at it with the toothpick trick. Stick a toothpick in it, see if it's done. And if you look at it and it starts to brown like a little faster than you are sort of comfortable with, cover it with tin foil, which we are probably going to do about midway through all this. Crumble is the best part, y'all. You can just kind of put as much crumble in there as you want. You'll have more of it than it feels like is necessary. Mix it in there, and you can also adjust the texture of the crumble if you want. I have made it a little dry, but you can add more butter to make it a little more wet if you like. It's already going to be a pretty moist muffin, so I didn't want to make it too moist. Are there any of you guys out there who hate that word, moist? Leave me a note in the comments if you do. Crumble, crumble, crumble. I tried to leave this part off in the original recipe too. I was trying so hard to be healthy, but I think we were healthy-ish. We were healthy enough. We're gonna do that. Now this crumble can burn, so one thing that you're gonna want to do is just keep a really good eye on it. I'm going to put these in the oven, and I'll see you guys in 25 minutes. Alright, look what we've got here, guys. These are our finished muffins. It ended up taking about 30 minutes instead of 25 for these bigger muffins, but it should be 20 to 25 should be about right for this set of 12. Those look gorgeous. I'm so proud of those. One way you can tell they're getting ready to be done is when the blueberries start bursting like that. Well, I think I'm gonna make myself a cup of coffee to enjoy one of these with. Alright guys, there we go. There is our coffee shop blueberry muffin. It pairs perfectly with our Uganda blend coffee, which you can find on our website, www.FinestofCoffee.com. I think just for maybe a day or so, it'll be on the front page, and then you'll be able to find it in the store. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I am going to try this right now. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm eating my hair. Those pair perfectly together. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Sean, feel free to cut out the chewing. Thank you so much for joining us, guys, and please leave us a comment below. Tell us if you like this video, and we'll talk to you next time.